Ladies and gentlemen, we come together in unity from the powers of music. It is Local Music Monday. The power of the internet brings us back together yet once again, people. Thank you so much for watching. You can follow along on all Disruption Network social media platforms, though we lost one.
We did?
We lost Periscope. No more Periscope.
Oh, right. Yep.
So, but you can find us on Twitter, you can find us on Facebook, and you can find us on YouTube. Shout out to the sponsors. Thank you to EJA Moving Services, the professional movers. When you're ready to move and relocate, hit up Eddie and his fine staff at 315-335-0516. Hit him up at ejamoving.com, home of the free boxes. Not only do they give you free boxes, but they pack them for you, and they bring them wherever they need to go. Hit up Eddie. Tell him Uncle Z sent you. And hopefully that gets you a little discount. 315-335-0516. Thank you to my attorney, Dave Longaretta. If you need legal advice, give him a call today. And let me tell you, he's a very good attorney because if he kept my ass out of trouble, he could keep your ass out of trouble. Give him a call today at 315-735-6162. Shout out to Utica Coffee, Saranac Brewery, and Joey's over at 307. You guys want a delicious meal this week? Go visit my good friend Matt Grabsky over at Joey's at 307. Joining us today, Local Music Monday, like always, Justin Smithson, and our guest today is Mr. John McConnell from Oswego, New York. John, welcome to the show. How you doing, bud?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me. About yourself?
Doing good,
yeah,
man.
doing really
good.
well.
Justin, you have a good story about how you and John first met. Talk about it.
I do, and it was funny because we used to frequently play years and years ago when I was of college age, a place called Old City Hall up in Oswego, and he's like, I mean, he would change things every time we play there. So one day
Crazy Larry.
Yeah, Larry's like, we're going to have an opening act when you guys get up here. Okay. So, you know, you never know, not an opening act, but another act in another room. So it wasn't even like an opening act. But and so we're like, okay, whatever. So we get there to set up, and I just hear this, like, beautiful acoustic music and everything coming out of this other room. I sat there until I got yelled at to come help because I was so, like, you know, I was blown away, man. I mean, John's a good, great talent, great performer. So that's how we met, anyway.
Appreciate it.
Did you two manage to stay in touch?
Kind of on social media and stuff. You know, like as soon as I saw him, I followed him and, you know, reconnected a little bit. So
nice.
But unfortunately, I don't play anymore up in Oswego, so that's a bummer.
I remember that vividly, actually. And as I heard you mention that when I was watching, I think Disruption Network for the first time a few weeks ago. And as it like was totally like career validating, you know what I mean? Like just to hear you remembering that, and big fan of yours and Showtimes, and like those were the years though. You mentioned I was in the back room of Old City Hall, and you guys were set up in the corner of the front room, or in the process of setting up, and you know you're one of the singers, so of course you were lagging in the setup, and
that's so true.
Yeah. You know, and we all do it, and so yeah, I remember it was you, and it was Sean Smith. He was in the band at the time, and I think I was doing. I added looping to my repertoire like relatively recently, and I was doing like a version of For What It's Worth by Buffalo Springfield with some percussion and stuff, and I remember that like very well. And those were the days like when you could actually, when people still went out. You know what I mean? Like at night. And,
right.
you know, he could actually facilitate.
Long time ago.
It was, man. You know, and it was great. Like the glory years, like a full band in the front room, a solo guy in the back room trading sets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was so cool.
When I hear Oswego, I think of Old City Hall. I also think of a couple musicians. Well, I think of Icewater Mansion. Those guys, or not Icewater Mansion. I'm sorry, Frostbit Blue.
Oh, Frostbit Blue, yeah.
Frostbit Blue. And then I think of the Garofalo twins.
Right on.
Dustin and Derek, and I've known those guys for many, many years. But Oswego has always been a great little local music community. There's always been like cool little venues to play. There was the Buckout Brewery back in the 90s, if you remember that place. And we mentioned Old City Hall, and Harbor Fest happens every year. It was always a cool little music scene going on in Oswego. And so that's where you pretty much got your start, right, John? Talk about coming up in the Oswego music scene.
Correct. Let's see. I graduated high school near Rochester, Ontario, New York, Wayne County in '99. And, you know, I didn't know what to do. So I went to college like everybody tells you that you should do. And I did well in high school. So it was like, go to a state school. I mean, I was clueless. So I went to Oswego. And at this point in time, see, I had been in a garage rock band in my high school years, just playing guitar, wasn't singing. We kind of transitioned into it was like the late '90s, mid '90s, so we transitioned into some rapping. So I might have done some rapping at a certain stage of the game, but
Nice.
there is recording here, of that hopefully will never surface. But yeah, good times though. Flux Capacitor was the name of the high school band.
Sick.
Nice.
Yeah, we made time travel possible, and we smoked a lot of cigarettes and swore a lot. We thought that was cool.
1.21 gigawatts.
That's right. There you go. That's pretty good. You practice that or what? That's like spot on.
Oh, God.
But so I'm already. This is already taking too long. So I go to college. I set down the guitar for a while. I go to school for a couple years and don't really play. At this point, I'm not singing. I've never sang before and played. And I did, the fraternity thing, which in hindsight was the worst academic decision of my life, but probably the best for business, the business that I got into, connection-wise. And so, I was at a fraternity party. I can't remember how old I was. I saw Dave Hawthorne play solo acoustic, and I was like, okay, all right, I want to do this. And, I took some time off school, went back home to my folks' house for a few months. And that's when I started digging in and starting to, I was inspired at that time by Jack Johnson was new on the scene. I was really digging him. And I was getting into Dave Matthews at the time. And Dave Matthews is really trying to learn some of those tunes on guitar and sing them were really what helped me sort of bring the singing, the guitar playing to the forefront. And I came back to Oswego as a music major with the goal of starting to get gigs to help finance my way through school. And I went to school for another year as a music major, decided it wasn't my jam, got a full-time job, started playing gigs maybe late 2003, very late 2003, way before I was ready. One of my fraternity buddies was managing a bar at the time and heard me at an open mic at Old City and was like, I played 3 songs. He's like, hey, can you come play a 4-hour set? I'm like, sure. Sure I can. So that was it.
Getting into.
No idea at all. I'm glad there's no footage of that either because wow, But yeah, from there, it just, I did the full-time job thing and in town here. And, the job, I worked for a textbook retail shop. So it was like the off-campus bookstore.
Yeah. Which
was just a gnarly place to work because it was basically like going into work was like going into party, essentially. And I mean, we got stuff done. We had to buckle down, but it was just a great job to kind of dovetail the start of my music career because all the folks I worked with were awesome. There was a lot of college age students. The managers were young and we were done at work and we went out and, I was getting gigs and it just kind of went from there. You know what I mean?
So awesome.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Now you mentioned Dave Hawthorne. He's one of my favorite players in the world. Did you ever get an opportunity to play with him?
I did, I jam with him here and there. Never did any gigs together or anything, but he knew, that he was a mentor of mine, really from a distance. I never, worked with him personally on any projects but I would just, stroll in. And Dave was always great about opening the mic up at his own gigs to anybody really who was a budding musician or. Mm-hmm. And for a time, he actually hosted the open mic at Old City Hall, which I, a couple years later, inherited from him.
Oh, wow.
And so just really jamming at the open mic. And jammed a little bit with Dave. And he was great about just allowing me to damn the torpedoes and give it a go,
Yeah, he was such an influence for me in the sense that I heard about him when I started dating my now wife. Her and her friend used to watch him and Tiger play at a place in Rome called the Palisades. And then my best friend had him play down at his bar in Ithaca called the Ale House. And then he was with Dave one night. I think somebody was supposed to be down with him from Ithaca and couldn't make the gig. And he says, I got just the guy for it. He called me up on the phone and said, hey, do you want to play with Dave Hawthorne? I'm like, sure. And like I got to go down there, and I'd never met the guy before in my life. And you'll appreciate this, John. We get down, and I help him set up. And I go, all right, I'm going to grab some drinks at the bar. I said, you want anything? And he looks right at me, straight face. He goes, the bartenders know what I want, and you're drinking what I'm drinking tonight. I go, all right, how bad could this be, So I go up to the bartender. I'm like, yeah, I'm getting what Dave wants to drink, and I guess I'm drinking what he's drinking. And the bartender looks at me and goes, are you sure you want to do that? And I'm like, how bad could this possibly be? I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. She puts 2 rocks glasses dry, no ice in it, right? Grabs a brand new bottle of Jack Daniels, slams it on the bar, and goes, there you go. And I went, oh, boy, this is how this is going to be. So a full bottle of Jack Daniels later, we were good friends after that.
Yeah.
I got to play a couple more gigs with him after that, but that was being that he was such a good mentor of mine, as he was for you, it was an awesome thing. He was a mentor to me, and he didn't even realize it because I had, like, his CDs, and that's the only time I'd ever seen him. And being able to just play with him like that was awesome. So that's why I had to ask that and tell that story for you. So.
Yeah, right on. Yeah, Dave's still, he's back in Arizona. I don't really have much communication with him.
Yeah.
But he's still a legend around here. Like people would still roll into the open mic that I wound up hosting at Old City for about 13 years up until COVID, up until the Corona Coaster Z, which I love. I've been using that, by the way. So thanks for that. Where was I going with that? At any rate, yeah, Dave's the man. Oh yeah, people would roll in the open mic and cover Dave Hawthorne tunes.
Yeah,
how cool is that?
Legend around here.
Yeah.
Who did he play with?
He played a little bit with Frostbit Blue, but also he was in an acoustic duo called Two Parts Cool, and it was him and Tiger.
Oh, okay.
Well, they did that for what, 20 years? It was
long
like
time.
Something. Every time it was. That was. David Tiger was like Case of Davidson is. You know what I mean? It's like that power duo, or that's where Port Tim we got the idea to do the power duo. Case of Davidson, David Tiger, like all that. Matter of fact, they did a version of Land Down Under on one of their CDs.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about? And
I do. I have the CD.
Yeah, that version was so influential to me that the version that we do with Port Tim and the version we do with Showtime is that exact version. And when I told Dave that, I showed up at a show that he was doing with David Tiger one time, and he goes, Tiger, get off the stage. You got to let this kid play. So I get up on stage and play with him. He goes, let's do the version of that song. I go, all right. So we did the version, and Tiger's sitting down there, and he's looking at me like this. I'm like, oh, God. I'm like all nervous, And all of a sudden, he pulls out like a fake notepad out of his back pocket, opens it up, and starts writing like he's taking notes. I'm like, that's awesome. You know what I mean? But he comes up, he goes, you were even doing my harmony parts. I'm like, yeah, dude. I'm like, I listen to this nonstop all the time. So, But it was just, I don't know. It was almost like playing with your hometown hero, in a sense. It's like getting up and playing a Leaving song with Leaving, Yeah. It really is.
Hey, John, who else are some of your hometown heroes? Or some of the guys you looked up to growing up?
Yeah, so when I came on the scene and started, like Hawthorne, Tiger, Dave Wolliver, Mike Place, who, you were in the finals with.
Shout out to Mike,
for the Sammy,
for sure.
People's Choice, yeah. And there's a few others that don't come to mind. Frostbit Blue had kind of like, by the time I was here doing it in the early 2000s, they had kind of, I think some of them were doing different stuff. They keep reuniting and but that Frostbit Blue like craze had kind of died down by that time. But I had heard about them. You can't come into Oswego still without hearing about that band.
Yeah.
So I think, the folks I mentioned were kind of the ones that I was looking at, when I was trying to beef up my chops and get gigs and going and studying and watching the guys around town. It was those guys I mentioned.
How about playing in bands? Did you start playing in bands, or are you just kind of really stuck with doing the singer-songwriter acoustic thing?
No, I actually, my year as a music major, back in fall of 2003, I think it was, I met up with a dude in a music theory class. His name's Max McKee, and Max became a great friend. He's a few years younger than me, and we started doing a duo. when I wasn't gigging solo, we would do McConnell and McKee, and through Max and through it's it's a kind of a long story, but at a festival over at Sterling Stage, it wasn't actually Sterling Stage. It was called something different, but it was while that area was kind of growing in popularity. Max and I ran into a saxophone player, Jesse Collins.
I know Jesse very well.
Yeah, and Jesse kind of had some other guys, and he approached Max and I, and he approached me about maybe being a part of this band that he was putting together, but he was going to lead it, and I was going to just sing maybe like, I don't know, 8 songs throughout the course of the night and kind of be like a singer. And through Jesse, he kind of brought together this group of guys, which would later become a band called Turnip Stampede, which I played with for about 7 years. I think we did at least one gig at EC back in the day.
It sounds familiar. But I don't know.
Yeah.
It's my blackout years.
I was just going to say.
And I was probably an asshole to you, so I apologize.
Yeah, no worries. Like I was,
It does sound familiar, though. Turn Up Stampede.
Yeah, and we did actually. And then we wound up. Jesse wasn't a part of the band, and we were playing as a 4-piece, and we moved to Ithaca for a year and lived there. Maybe 2006, 7, 8. And then we got a new drummer, and then we eventually were a 5-piece. It was myself, Max McKee, Adam Fisher, who now fronts a band called Count Blastula, based out of Syracuse.
That's awesome.
They're good. They're great.
Yeah, what a great name.
Yeah, Adam's a monster.
Yeah.
So is Max. So are all these guys. Kenyatta King became our drummer, who's Syracuse-based, and then a jazzer, a keyboard guy named Dave Salazzo. So that was the so we played with that band, like I said, for about 7 years, and we actually so Scott Sterling at the Dinosaur Barbecue, I had been I got a couple gigs there with Max in the duo capacity, and we had started playing with the band, and Scott was interested, and he gave us a gig, and Scott got behind us fully and basically started managing us. And it was through Scott really that we probably faster than we should have, because he has such influence in the region, and
indeed,
and we started getting, he was fully behind us, so we started getting some festival gigs in the area, and like Balloon Fest, and we eventually, I think we opened up for Mo at Saranac. And, some other, we opened up for Toots and the Maytals, which was a great one at the Haunt. That's a standout for sure. So Turn Up Stampede, beyond the garage rock era, has been like the only band sort of in my life. And it was a lot of fun. It was great. But that ended around 2014, somewhere in that vicinity.
And then you just picked up with the acoustic thing and started to run with the singer-songwriter thing?
Yeah, that's kind of been my bread and butter the whole time. Mm-hmm. That's really what I love the best. In part because I'm like, I mentioned I went to school for a year as a music major, but when I play and when I write, I don't apply theory at all. And I've always found myself among, like, the Turnip Stampede crew. They were all theory guys. They were all heady musicians, and I've always kind of had this, like, a bit of a complex about, so like playing on my own is my comfy zone. You know what I mean? And I guess that kind of propelled it. And plus the fact, I've always loved that you can do whatever you want, and as long as you're pretending that you know what you're doing, and you're not screwing up your bandmates. And you know what I mean? You hit a wrong chord, you just, you sing the wrong verse, you can do whatever you want. So in a way, it's freeing, but it also makes you lazier as a musician, I think.
Fake it till you make it.
Amen to that. That's what I'm doing.
Theory guys can really get under your skin, though. right, Justin?
Well, me being a theory guy.
You are a theory
get
guy,
it.
but well, we've never played music together.
No, I
so
mean,
I don't really know what it's like to be in the practice room, but I have been in the practice room with many theory guys.
Yeah.
And it's just like, all right, dude,
I mean,
I don't really care what note goes into what note and what scale is what and what form it is. Just tell me the freaking notes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a theory guy, but I'm more of like a free thinker than a theory guy, though. Like, I don't let it get in the way. I guess you don't really have to know much theory if you have a good ear.
Yeah.
I guess is the way you look at it.
True.
So,
Good point. Excellent point.
so like, just being the fact that if something doesn't sound right to me, then theory-wise, it probably doesn't make any sense either. So, so that's the whole thing. You just use your ear, and then you don't have to worry about it.
Exactly. And you do have a good ear. That's for damn sure.
Appreciate it.
Truth.
So you were down in Ithaca. Did you? Would you say 2006, 2007?
I think it was 7-8. Now that I'm looking
7-8.
back at it,
So
7-8.
do you ever remember O'Leary's Irish Pub?
I remember it. I don't think I ever set foot in there, although I did play a couple times at the Ale House.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, so that's the same guy. And then he also
Tim, right?
John O'Leary.
John, sorry, excuse me.
Yeah, John O'Leary, and he used to own Johnny O's up in College Town as well.
Okay.
So that's where but he started out at O'Leary's Irish Pub on the corner of Seneca and 13. I think it's called the Rhine House now or whatever. But that's how I started playing in Ithaca. So it's so funny. Like we were like John and I kind of like followed the same like we were in the same towns at the same time. It's like
Parallel
crazy.
lives.
Yeah, like totally parallel. And it's funny that we didn't meet really until Oswego back then. Like God, it was like had to have been. I don't even know. I don't even know when it was. It had to be like early 2000, right? Or no?
Yeah, and to it was probably either pre or early social media days, so it wasn't as easy to meet everybody.
Well, it was MySpace days, definitely, because I remember Sean joined the band in 2008 when he got back from Iraq. So it had to have been when you were down, or when you were just coming back from Ithaca, I think.
Yeah, and I was traveling back and forth a lot. The textbook company that I mentioned had a location in College Town.
Yeah.
So I did a bunch of traveling back and forth for a lot of years.
Yep.
And I actually somehow wound up landing. I played at College Town Bagels, the one actually in College Town.
Yep.
Every Thursday for like a year and a half or 2 years, somewhere in there. So I did so much driving back and forth between Oswego and Ithaca that it's
a long
freaking
ride, man. That is a long ride.
It is.
About 2 hours
It
right
is.
there, huh?
Longer than that. It's got to be longer than 2 hours, right?
Well, no. As long as the weather's
here.
cooperating, where I was living. See, you can also, you don't have to go the main drag where Oswego's position. You can shoot down 104 and hit 34.
Sure.
And if
sure.
you go
I see
that
where you're
route,
going now.
maybe about like an hour 40 to an hour 50
makes
minutes.
sense now.
But still, it's still a haul without a doubt.
John, when you got put on my radar was for the Sammys when we were up for the live stream competition thing there. Talk about your live stream. And was that something you started before pandemic, or was it something that you started during the pandemic just to keep your mind occupied?
Yeah, it was the latter of what you just described. It was to keep my mind occupied and stay in a musical groove, and also just to, everybody else was doing it and doing it quickly, and people were people were wanting to support their local musicians, and I saw it also as an earning opportunity, and so that's what propelled me in that direction. All those things.
Now, do you go to a set schedule, or is it something you just go randomly?
Set schedule. So, well, I'd like to say, so I didn't watch this live stream until after I lost, right, in that category, and I'm glad I didn't watch it before, because I just would have forfeited, I'm just like. I'm not a tech guy, really. I mean, I do it to survive, but my live stream is my iPhone 11 on a stand, you know what I mean? And it somehow works out pretty well and sounds and looks pretty decent. And so I've I looked at a lot of stuff to try to beef it up. But I was getting reports, I was kind of communicating with my musician friends. I'm like, how does it look? How does it sound? They're like, don't change anything. I'm like, okay, so but I mean, the level of production, Z, that you're doing, and just the entertainment quality and like I'm really impressed. Like it's an honor to be here, like honestly. And I would have looked at this and been like, what am I doing? Like I'm going to stop the campaign right now.
And that's when
No,
you
no
got
joke.
placed on my radar too. I got to check out and see who the competition is, right?
Oh, sure.
Because you have to
Yeah,
do
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And I checked out you and Mike, of course, and Mike's phenomenal too.
Oh, yeah.
And then when we got in the room with Mike during the Sammys, he showed us like all his instruments. Like he
it's
has
crazy.
like a museum full of instruments, and it was like cool. It was cool to get to know both of you guys, and I'm glad. That's the cool thing about this local music scene is it brings people together, and we talk about it all the time that it's not a competitive thing really anymore. It's we're all here to help each other out, and that's why we have platforms such as this, and everybody's out there doing a live stream. Now the big thing nowadays is the Twitch. Have you crossed over to Twitch yet?
I have not.
No.
Although, you know, I mean, my friends who are doing it are like, you get on the train, you got to do
Yeah.
it, get on, you know. So I'm holding out for no particular reason necessarily. But you know, I want to address to go back just a sec there, Z. What you mentioned is the camaraderie. Like this is exemplifying that to like the umpteenth degree. Like your Utica area crew is, there's so much love, you know. And I was watching the your year anniversary of the Local Music Monday,
Mm-hmm.
and just blown away, really. I got love for my fellow musicians, and I love helping mentor through open mics and all that stuff. But you guys have a connection out there that's like deeper than I've seen, like regionally, in my opinion. So
Appreciate
beautiful
that.
thing.
It definitely is a good brotherhood that we got going on here in the 315. And we pick on each other, make fun of each other a lot, but we can, you know.
Right, exactly.
'Cause we're
Yes.
brothers,
That's
you
what
know?
brothers do, you know.
Exactly.
You know.
You got to bust balls. If you're not busting balls, then something's wrong, you know.
You have to. John, we ought to have you come into the studio one of these days. We're going to start doing that local music anniversary. Really sparked us to start doing more acoustic performance in studio. So we're going to start doing it monthly. I'd love to open the invitation up to you and have you come join us on Monday.
That'd be great.
And
I'd be honored.
play a couple songs, man, for sure.
I'd love to, for sure. And I have a bunch of original tunes, so we won't be infringing in any directions on things.
And try to dodge all the copyright infringements and all that. And when it comes to the Facebook platform and YouTube.
Yeah. You know, also to address something, you know, so to go back again. So what I did with the Facebook Live is I just put it in place of so every Tuesday night I've hosted an open mic at Old City Hall. You know, there was on and off for a few periods, but for cumulatively for about 13 years.
Wow.
And so I took, it's like I got to Tuesdays. You know, the last, you know, Tuesday was the 17th, 2020. So that was St. Patty's Day. And we weren't going to do an open mic that night because they run like a drunk bus. And so I was just, you know, nobody's, you know, it's just rowdy. And so I was just going to play a solo gig. And I was waiting to hear back from Larry, you know, on whether or not we were a go, because everything was hitting the fan right then. So that was, you know, that would have been the last open mic. So, you know, within the next couple weeks, I just figured it'd be a good idea to just kind of stick with the Tuesday tradition, and it seemed like a good off night. And I was trying to play nice with the, you know, my musical friends around here who were already established in their streaming nights, and Tuesday worked out. So that's all I've been doing, just every Tuesday for the last year plus. From about 7:30 to 9:30, right here in the corner of my living room, next to the books, where I pretend like I'm literate, next to the hippie love sign.
That's hilarious. Hey, you are literate. Come on, man.
Yeah, at times.
Yeah. Nice. Talk about how important open mics are for you. I mean, that's how you cut your teeth. But do you go and frequent other open mic nights too in other areas?
You know, I have in recent years, though I haven't. You know, because when I was a little younger, and when it wasn't as much to, you know, load in and, you know, play 3, 4, 5, 7 gigs a week. Like, I still had energy left to go cruise around and do open mics, and maybe that's a poor excuse for not, but now in recent years I've just been so focused because I've been running it weekly for so long, and it's like it's a full setup, and it's like an all-day affair, and I like to get there early, and in the later years I was running two Bose L1 Model 2 towers, and like some monitors, and just lay the rugs down and make sure you got plenty of mics for random collaborations. And so the open mic wound up being a 8-10 hour day every Tuesday basically.
Wow.
And that kind of wore me down, being so far removed from it. And now I'm doing the first Thursday of every month, I'm doing an open mic at a new location in town. And like I get done with that and I'm like, dude, how did I do that every Tuesday for 13 years? And it's not just the physical aspect, it's like it's like the communication. Like you're having so many communications throughout the evening, and you're running sound, and you want to make sure people sound good. And the way I approach a open mic is, I sort of thrive on like, I remember being in open mics and like a given host was maybe not being so nice, and so patient. And that always rubbed me the wrong way. I'm like, you're in such a vulnerable position. Basically I equate it to, you stand in front of a room by yourself and you might as well take your clothes off because it's pretty similar,
Sure.
And so once I got that, I really kind of fell in love with like helping people who are new to the process, like through that, just doing everything I could to be like, listen, it's like a roller coaster. Get this one thing out of the way, and you're going to want to jump back on the ride. Like just doing everything I could, just to help people. For whatever reason, I thrive on that, So yeah, man, love the open mic setting. I love hosting it. I love also just, as I've gotten older too, and you get more used to eating humble pie and being okay with the taste, somebody will stop in and just blow you away. You know what I mean? And then you got to get back up after them and be like, yep, this is what I do.
It's cool when you find a gem in the crowd like that just blows you away. Like, where the hell did you come from, kid?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Like, no, I work full time. I'm in finance. Like, I just do this a couple times a year.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
We got a comment on Facebook, Becky Lynn saying, "Don't let them fool you. You are very literate."
That's my better half right there. Thank you, Rebecca. I love you so much.
She's sticking up for you. That's good. Good.
She's got my back always.
Anybody out there on Facebook land that's watching, it could do us a favor and click the share button, help spread the word of Disruption Network and what John's doing. John, give a plug to your website and where people can find your music. Do you have some music out there that you can stream?
I do. This is another area in which I could use a lot of work. So the website's not up right now. I'm in the process of trying to revamp my whole online presence. Honestly, I saw it. It's funny you linked Reverb Nation, which I refer to jokingly as the MySpace of music sites, basically. But so the best way to watch me and to listen to my original tunes is really just to Google John McConnell music. Mm-hmm. Google John McConnell music, and it'll bring something right up for you to.
Are you recording often?
No, I'm doing pre-production right now. I'm hoping to get in the studio by the fall. I got a boatload of new original tunes, and I'm eager to get in for a full-length album. And hopefully, my writing has kind of gone like a different direction recently. More to, I'm really enthralled with a bunch of like these alt country Americana songwriters, and it's changed my songwriting trajectory a little bit. So I'd really like to kind of do a full length album in that sort of vibe with my own, still my own groove. I kind of have my internal groove kind of comes from more of like a funk or a soul kind of a place.
Nice.
But like,
that's great. Yeah.
But trying to embody more of like the actual lyricism and storytelling and that type of thing. So what I'd love to do is go create a full length album and then an EP of more like full band, sort of groovier, funkier driven tunes. That's the plan. So I'm trying to do pre-production just in my home on that stuff, finish up lyrics. And I don't have a schedule, but I'll be recording it here in town at a local studio. My friend Josh Russell, he's got a studio in his basement. That's where I do all my work. Springhouse Records. He's great at what he does. He works out at the college as well. He doesn't advertise the studio a whole lot, so it's kind of word of mouth place.
It's awesome.
Cool. Keep us posted when you have that out.
Absolutely.
Right on.
We got a couple of people on Facebook. Stephen McLean saying Johnny Great Originals. Matthew Romano, love the new originals. Keep them going. Johnny McTunes. We all been playing before our gray hairs came in. That's from Steve McLean.
Yeah. He's a hell of a singer-songwriter himself and plays a lot of gigs in the region. And shout out to Steve. And my boy Matt Romano, he's been writing recently for New York State magazine online. And
oh, cool.
I've been sharing his stuff. He just did an interview with Steve Gadd. Phone interview with Steve Gadd, and just wrote a couple pieces that you can find on my social media on Facebook, and recommend checking them out.
That's awesome.
That's pretty cool. They said there's a new original about Route 104 in New York State.
That's correct. Yes. That's a newer one, sort of in that vein that I was describing. It's actually not to get a little dark here, or not dark, but just real life is so I lost my father a little less than a year and a half ago, and oddly enough and sadly enough, my better half Becky we lost our dads within 3 or 4 days of each other.
Oh man,
wow, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. But it's been an interesting, just the path forward after stuff like that, as we all know, is challenging. But so the Route 104, I've always had close ties with my mom and dad. My mom still lives in Ontario, New York. And you hop on Route 104, which I live currently on, and about an hour down the road, you get to Ontario, New York. And that's just before the Monroe County line. So I grew up about 25 minutes from downtown Rochester, but I've done that Route 104 drive between Oswego and Ontario, New York. I mean, I talked earlier about the Route 34 drive. Multiply that by 20. It means since '99 I've been going back and forth. And when my dad got sick, I was a part of his caregiving team, and my mom, was taking care of him. And so that drive, the tune's really about just kind of how, that drive, how, it remained constant, so it was comfortable, but then, I finished the song after he passed. And so really the kind of message at the end is that, the drive seemed the same, but really the leaves were changing colors and falling off, and all we have is change, period, basically.
It's awesome.
Rolling with the changes too, man. That's
right.
Patrick Horan is saying you forgot to mention Acoustic Chaos.
Acoustic Chaos, nice. My buddy Pat's a drummer, and he used to do a duo with another guy around here, Billy Max. So shout out to all the folks that I forget to mention. Thanks, Pat. Appreciate that.
John, have you had any live gigs other than the live streaming? Have you had any kind of bar gigs at all going on?
Yeah, I have actually. I've had them, safely, right along. I mean, not near the number, and but I have had some barroom gigs and some socially distanced, safe, all mandated, following the rules, and I've had a few here and there, and they're sort of gaining in momentum as things are starting to open back up, and my summer's looking pretty good, and so I have, yep,
so
definitely.
Cool.
Thank God.
I know. It's starting slowly.
Yeah. You've been busy though, bro.
Yeah, I've been lucky. Let's put it that way. I mean, it's I've been really lucky, and I have a place right down the street from my house. It's a restaurant called Fratello's, He's literally said, anything you can bring in here, I don't care if you're involved or not, anything you can bring here, I'll take. So, like, I played in the month of December, I played there 9 times with 9 different acts. Not even kidding. And, I invited, like, all my friends, and I was like, hey, you want to do a night together? This would be fun. You want to do a night together? And so I inadvertently got to jam with all of my friends, which was awesome. And, just Dick Smith's and stuff like that. There's been a couple different places where I've been able to gig. So, thank you to all the bars and restaurants out there that are continuing to have live music.
Yeah, it's tough out there.
It is. And it comes at a time, really, and I'm sure you guys can relate. Just in general, nightlife has been trending, not in the best direction, and, so it'll be interesting. It's like I try to remind people that, like, things were, not trending in a great direction before all of this began. So to not forget that. I mean, I'm hopeful for resurgence, and you can kind of feel it in the air.
Yeah.
But I think in general sense, really, the tech takeover, 2010, 11, 12, 13 was like the last year that I remember at least going out locally, like, Old City, for example, like, up until those years I mentioned, that you didn't have to do anything. You went out and it was shoulder to shoulder anywhere you went in town, and that place especially, live music everywhere. And it's really changed a lot since the tech takeover, and there's other factors, but that, to me, in my mind, really is the major catalyst for change.
Would kind of hope that it's a slingshot after we're all back, that it just is going to be bigger and better than ever. We kind of hope. I mean, just looking at people on Facebook, just like, I miss live music. Yeah. Well, here's the time when this all does come back to put, to step up, people, and start supporting.
Yeah.
If you miss it so much, get out there and support.
Yeah, and it gives them an opportunity to realize, like, when they start to get back to the way that they were and taking it for granted, they can remember when they didn't have it. And I guess the coolest thing, and I know you've probably had this, John, is like standing up there and, like, you go to check your guitar and you just hit like a G chord or something like that. And this has happened to me. Like, a guy sitting next to me in the chair goes, "Oh my God, I never thought I would hear that again." I'm like, dude, I just played a G chord. He goes, "You don't understand. This is the first time I've been out since the pandemic started, and I just can't tell you how great that sounds." And I'm like,
yes,
cool, man. And it's just so cool and it's nice to feel that,
Yeah, amen to that. I've had similar reactions, and the folks that, for the gigs that I have had, and I've been blessed as well. Not to downplay it. There's been places that have given me gigs, and right. I've been trying consciously not to. I don't want to burden these proprietors, these managers, with, like, they're trying to just keep their doors open at X capacity, and I'm not going to be the dude. Hey,
yeah.
Can you, like, give me money?
Right, sure.
So I've been really trying to, by virtue of the fact that I've been playing music around here for so long, and I've shaken so many hands, and I've established so many awesome relationships in this region, like, I'm lucky to be on the list of folks that some of these people, like, okay, we're going to try live music. We're just going to give John a call, or Mike Place, or, Cam Caruso, or whoever in this region,
Yeah. It's going to be better. Sorry, I had a little thing in my throat. I think it's going to be better than ever, though. I really do think that the local music scene, the live music scene, the concert scene, even right now what's going to happen is, like, none of the nationals, none of the major acts are going to be able to go on tour, because it's really not feasible for them to go out on tour.
I've already seen a few that have taken all their dates from 2021 and moved it to 2022 already. Yeah, so
right.
It's almost not.
But the mid-levels and, like, the theater acts, I think that they can do it. And, of course, the club acts can definitely get out there and play a little bit, but you're not going to see any of the national touring acts out there.
No,
not the big, because it just doesn't. I mean, it's expensive to go out on the road. Just a tour bus alone is like $10,000 a week.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I like your optimism, and the slingshot metaphor, is a good one. So I'm optimistic as well. So.
Gotta be, man.
Yeah.
You gotta be. We've already been knocked in the dirt for so long, for like the last year and a half now. That the only thing is the only thing we can do is go up.
Yeah. I mean, it's not nothing's killed us yet, so that's a good thing. As far as the music wise, you know what I mean? Nothing's like, I mean, there's a couple of people that I'm sure have been like, you know what, I'm done. You know, this is my time to walk away. But I mean, for the most part, it's like, especially in the local scene, it's just like we just all can't wait to get back out. You know what I mean? And the live streaming has helped us out a lot. Like Tim Moyer says, there he is. This isn't going away. You know, it's not going to go away. And but however, I could see it being used in conjunction with live music. You know what I mean? Like, you know, so you could still have your weekly show, you know, like your weekly live stream, but maybe it's going to be from Joe Schmo's bar on the corner. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? But like it'll work hand in hand, I guess.
It's a 57 weeks in a row we've mentioned his name. It's like that we broke Joe DiMaggio's hit streak already.
We did, all right. Yes, we did.
Like we got to mention his name 57 weeks in a row. The unofficial sponsor of Local Music Monday, Tim Moyer.
I've watched enough.
It just makes his head big. That's all.
Well, he's already signed off by now. He just checks in the first 10 minutes to see if we said his name yet.
He's just here, he waves, and he's out.
Yeah. He wants that thing to say Gridley Page is watching, and then he signs off. It's the end of it. Oh, I had a call.
I'm working, dude.
Yeah.
Hilarious, though. But yeah, hopefully some good will come. John, we got to bring you to Utica. I mean, not only just to play here in the studio, but maybe we could line you up with some gigs. Maybe we could play at Fratello's. He says he's working. That's funny. He just chimed in. I'm working, man. But no, we do got to bring you to Utica, man. There are some great places to play, and there's some great brew pubs and some wineries, and Justin's got a good link. And I don't know, maybe bring him to Fratello's and do it.
Oh, I'd love to.
Right there.
I'd love to, definitely. That's the other thing. Like, have you found, like, being a solo artist and stuff, like you had talked earlier that your comfort zone is being a solo artist, and I'm completely the opposite. I'm so comfortable with a band, and I'm like the guy that freezes. Like, when I play by myself, I'm like, oh my God, I played this song. I played this last week too. Maybe I shouldn't play this. Oh my God, wait. You know, like, I'm all nervous and I'm like all jerky and everything like that. But I don't know where I was going with it, but it's.
You'd rather play with a band than by yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I would rather play it with a band than by myself. But what I've noticed is that there's a lot more breweries popping up that want live music, and like it's like the new club scene.
So cool.
You know what I'm saying? Like so many of the bars have gone, and now you've got these like really cool craft beer breweries popping up and they're serving food that's like, you know, organic and all this stuff, and like it's like a new scene that's popping up, and those are the ones that you see a lot more like solo and duo acts like playing at, you know, chill bands like the Old Main and stuff like that will be playing like breweries everywhere. I mean, I love it. I absolutely love playing breweries. Have you played a lot of breweries, or have you seen that a lot?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because that actually kind of is a nice way to go positive from what I was talking about earlier about how the nightlife's really not the same. The saving grace, I think, of the scene for the solo duo guys, gals, is going to be, and it already is, yes, breweries and wineries.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's, and you know, the vibe is different, which I'm acclimating to, you know. I mean, I call a lot of those like wallpaper gigs, you know, where, I mean, I get a lot of gigs just because I can play at a volume at which people can talk at and eat dinner to. And
Absolutely.
like, you know, I've had to change it up a bit. And some folks I know have a hard time with that vibe. It's like, oh, nobody clapped for that song. Like, oh my God, I got to turn it up. And then, you know, somebody's eating a $30 entree like 15 feet away and is like, you know, you have to be cognizant of that stuff. And like, people are listening, and it's a different vibe. And you know, that's going to be the saving grace, you know, and they're not all like that. You know, they're not all that vibe. Some of them are outside. You can turn up a little bit. But yeah, I've definitely noticed that, to answer your question. And I'm optimistic and excited about it.
Yeah, that's great.
There's some great brew pubs out there, too.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of good ones. They're popping up left and right. Are they popping up left and right in Oswego, too?
No, not so much in Oswego. You know, we had one, you know, which was rolling for a while, and unsure of what's going to happen. You know, they're not open currently. But no, we're ripe for one. And, you know, the old city building in my mind would be very ripe for a brew facility. So, but, you know, regarding that, like they're not open, and, you know, I'm friends with the powers that be, but like, I just haven't really, you know, there's the rumor mills circulating about Old City, and you know, I got a lot of love for Larry, as you know, as eccentric as he can be,
Sure.
and he's given me work, like so much work. I'd be willing to wager, and I'm sure there's people out there that would argue with me, but based on the fact that I hosted open mic every Tuesday for about 13 years, I played there every Wednesday night, my own gig for about 7, and then would fill in sometimes on weekends. I would be willing to wager that I've played more music in that bar than anyone since the place opened. Arguably, I'd at least be up in there. You know what I mean?
So are you completely immune? Are you completely immune to the smell of sage now?
That was hysterical. The sage story. Yeah, you kind of have to be. You know, when you're getting saged against the machine. You know what I mean? There was other ones. You know, saging Private Ryan. Saged by the Bell. We could, you know, if you got any, just, you know.
Yeah, just smudging Old City Hall.
Smudging.
Everybody's got. I loved your Larry story when I was listening, Justin, and there's so many of them. Like, you know, I might have to, you know, all in good fun. Larry's not a social media guy, so I don't think he probably would watch this. But there's so many great Larry stories. He's such a character, and
absolutely.
You know, we've been communicating throughout this whole thing, but really he just sends me like rare Beatles videos, and like, you know, I watch them, and then I'll send him something that he probably doesn't watch or listen to, but maybe he does. I'm not sure. But he called me up randomly a few weeks ago and was just like, I'm like, hey Larry, what's up? He's like, hey kid, do you climb trees every day? Do you climb tall trees in your yard every day? And I'm like, no.
What a great impression.
No. I'm like, should I be? He's like, if you're not climbing tall trees, the tallest tree in your yard every day, daily, you need to be doing yoga 3 days a week at the very minimum, unless you're climbing tall trees every day in your yard. And I was like, well, I'm not climbing tall trees, and I am, you know, I've been together with a yoga instructor for 6.5 years, so I should probably be doing more yoga, Larry. Like, okay, bye.
Oh my God, that's outstanding.
How long has Old City Hall been a thing? How long?
400 years.
Yeah, I mean that venue has been there has it been there since the 70s?
The late 70s, I do believe. You know, there's always somebody has a different story to say, and so the way I understand it is and Larry told me one time. So Larry was a college student at Oswego. And that building was storage at the time. And the way he described it to me is one day he entered the vicinity through a window and sort of imagined this place. And I guess him and a few buddies, you know, found a way to turn it into a bar. And then over time, it was just him that was left. And the way I also understand it is that was around the time that the 3 nuclear power plants that are here in the Oswego area were being built. Mm-hmm. And so there was lots of activity in the town at the time, and lots of money coming through the town. And, you know, so to the best of my knowledge, late 70s, early 80s was when the whole thing really became an institution quickly.
Yeah.
And, you know, I mean, when I came to college here in '99, that was still the place. You know, I couldn't get in at the time because I looked 12, and that place has always actually been. You need to be of age or have like an ID to get in, a good one to get in there if you're young. He's always played by the rules because he's always. Yeah, I think he doesn't do a whole lot to bolster you know favor among local politicians / local business owners. You know, he's very outspoken, and as I mentioned, you know, he's eccentric, and you know, if you love him and you love the building, then that's what you do. You know what I mean? And and you just kind of enjoy the entertainment beyond the musical entertainment. Sure. You know,
the place is an institution.
I always enjoyed playing there, and I was very, very sad when we stopped. You know, I really was, because I enjoyed it. It was, you know, it was the way it was. Like, we'd go outside on a break, And it would be like it's a college town, so you just see people are just walking the streets. It's just everybody's just chill, and I don't know. I just always enjoyed it. I always enjoyed it there.
I love the scene in Oswego back in the day, especially in the 90s. It's so much fun in that town. We used to say, the joke was, if you can't get laid in Oswego, you don't have a dick.
No comment.
That was the joke amongst our crew back then.
Yeah.
I don't know how it is now, but I mean, we're talking the 90s, so.
Right.
Right.
Lots of fun in that town, for sure.
Yeah, dude, the college vibe. I mean, once again, I mean, you used to go out any night of the week, and the whole thing was like this was the place. More bars per capita, and all that sort of stuff. And there wasn't a night Monday through Monday where you couldn't go out, and people were all over the street, college kids, and it's changed a lot. It really has.
Sure.
It's that vibe is not that anymore.
What a shame.
For sure.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's still awesome, spots, and there's so many beyond Old City. I'm doing a weekly brunch gig at this eatery called Bistro 197. I got a gig coming up at La Paria, which is another amazing eatery. There's lots of places.
Plug your dates. What dates are these?
Yeah. Let's see. I got the every Tuesday McTuesday right here by the love sign, the pseudo hippie love sign. Let's see. I got. I'm playing at the Canal Commons coming up in Oswego at a Kefra Coffee this Saturday from 12 to 2. It's like an open house for the Canal Commons. I'll be at the Bistro 197 on every Sunday, and if I'm not there, one of my buddies will be there. I got coming up the 22nd, I'll be at Myers Creek in Cazenovia, the brewery. Speaking of breweries. Also, I must mention, beyond Oswego, Fairhaven, New York, is really turning into a hip spot to play.
Oh, yeah?
I got a gig coming up at the Sterling Cidery. There's also a place called Brandon's, Coloca Winery. I'm sure there's others I'm forgetting. And then I got, let's see, Saturday the 24th, I'll be in Syracuse at Kasai Ramen, which is a very hip eatery, great food. So I think that's all I can see on my calendar, my physical calendar that I still use and write in mechanical pencil so I can erase things.
Oh yeah, the olden days. Patrick Coran is saying, I remember when there was entertainment 7 days a week back in the '60s. My father raised 4 kids being a whiskey salesman. Yeah, the live entertainment scene used to be hip and happening back in the day. That's for damn sure, and it definitely slowly diminished. But I definitely think it's going to come back. I have very, very positive feeling that it's going to come back and better than ever. I hope. I
love it, and God bless all these owners still doing it.
Yeah.
Still fighting the current.
Yeah.
And there's so many other places I should mention that I'll forget right now, but it's just universal love to anybody, still putting live music in their facility. GS Steamers is another spot I've been playing through all this, just to give them a shout as well. But
the toughest thing too for these restaurants and bars, I know I say it a lot, but especially if they're going to bring in somebody that draws a lot, you bring in reservations. These people sit down and maybe they might have 8 tables in the whole restaurant because of the capacity. You know what I mean? But you're selling out 8 tables, and those people are not moving until you're done. So you got a 3-hour show. They're not turning any tables over for 3 hours, and you better hope that they drink because otherwise, what money are they making?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Right.
I think that there's an establishment in the area that what they'll do is if you pay your tab at all, you have to leave.
Oh.
So like if you're done, even though you want to sit there and like enjoy the band, as soon as you pay your tab, you have to leave so that they can turn the table over. Which I mean, I think that makes sense, but if you want to stay, don't pay your tab.
It depends on how they handle it.
Right. I mean, if they physically remove you or something, that's But if they ask you, maybe even on the receipt or on the menu, it says if you pay your tab, please leave, give somebody else a chance to eat. Something like that. Something nice, then that would be cool. But. Yeah, because I'm just wondering how a lot of these places are faring by doing that. By letting somebody come in at 7 and they're there till 10, 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Watching you play.
Nobody's making money. That's the thing.
But they're still paying us. I mean, you wonder like how they are they just that supportive of live music? that they're willing to take a bath to have you, or you know what I mean, or are they maybe making money on the flip side on the beer because obviously there's more more money to be made off of beer than there is off of food. So
Well, the live music definitely is the draw, and people want to come out. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Well, Justin, the problem is you're too good at what you do. So if you start sucking a little bit, there'll be more turnover at tables.
Then why do you think I started playing solo?
Hysterical. Well, John, thank you so much for taking the time for us today, man. This has been really cool, and it's been great to shoot the shit. And we got to get you into Utica one of these days. And maybe one of these days we'll get you in for the Local Music Monday Acoustic Jam Series.
That was what I was going to say. That'd be great to do. I think that would be so much fun. And we'll get you, we'll put the green screen on with some kind of we'll put like a brewery seat in the back.
We'll put them at Old City Hall.
We'll put them at Old City Hall.
We'll put them at Hall,
just like Tuesdays again.
Exactly.
Yeah. Or if you could just put some kittens up or something, whatever.
Yeah, there you go.
Dude, I'd be honored. And it's an honor to be here. And it's nice to finally actually meet you, Z. And your name is synonymous with regional music, man. And it's good to chat with you. And I really appreciate the invite. And Justin, it's great to see you again, brother.
Absolutely,
and,
man.
Keep doing what you're doing. You guys are kicking ass. This is
Thanks,
an
brother.
awesome online situation.
Thanks, brother. Thank you very much. Appreciate the compliments. Before we get out of here, Matt Romano wants to know if they have live music at Ocean Blue where they're on the balcony, and they don't, but sometimes they'll have like a DJ and whatnot. And I don't know, maybe that's something that we could talk Francis into, Justin.
Maybe.
A little live music on the balcony at Ocean Blue. It'd
have to be the right vibe, though, because the vibe that they try to get there. You know what I mean? It is. It's more of like, I think that, what I think would work well there is like how they have at the casino at Turning Stone, like a piano player that plays. You know what I mean?
Piano bar action?
Like not even a piano bar, but just somebody that plays the piano and maybe sings a little bit, like during dinner. They could have it outside on the balcony, one that rolls so they can roll it inside and out when they want to. You know what I mean? Just something.
Not a bad
different.
idea.
Yeah.
Shout out to the boys from Motor Lord. They're always checking in.
Motor Lord.
Motor Lord.
Love it.
Uncle Groovy saying nice to meet you, John. And John Hayes is saying, Johnny Mac, you're the man. So
Big John.
Thanks to everybody out there in Facebook land that has been watching us. And if you could do us a favor, click the share button. Shout out to our sponsors, EJA Moving Services, Attorney Dave Longaretta, Utica Coffee, Saranac Brewery, and Joey's at 307. If you want a great meal, go check out Joey's. And tomorrow I come back. The Adirondack Scenic Railroad people are going to be here. They're getting the trains up and rolling again.
Very cool.
So are you playing a train this year?
No.
No, not scheduled for one of those?
Not scheduled for one yet. And I think that it's because it's usually on the weekend. And who knows what's going on with the trio and Showtime right now, and I don't know if we're going to be getting dates, but...
You have played them, though, before, right?
No, I've never done the train.
You've never done the train?
No. Matter of fact, I was going to say that we should do a
disruption train?
Yeah, but like a local music Monday train where we go live from the train.
I like that.
Yeah, we should do that.
Though it's kind of hard with the Wi-Fi.
They don't have Wi-Fi on the train?
I don't know. We'll find out tomorrow.
We got to find that out.
We'll find out tomorrow. Which it's a great idea.
Otherwise, we could just record one.
Yeah. I like that. You just want to go on a train.
I just want to go on a train ride. That's all.
Me too.
But
man.
see, I want to go on a train ride. See?
We'll get you, and we'll bring your gear so you can play on a train.
I would love to. I would do it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
this is going to happen now.
All right.
Now this guy feels like you're so passionate about it.
I'm in.
This has to happen.
I like the train ride.
And then Wednesday, guess what I got Wednesday? Chucky fucking Love.
Come on.
Coming into the studio. Come down. Come hang out.
Whoa.
Yeah. So. Parental advisory warning will be in full effect that day.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You're going to have to put that up for like 35 seconds when you go live.
Right, exactly. Parental advisory. But, John, thanks again. One more time,
John.
plug where people could find your streaming and how they can find you online.
I'm on Facebook Live every Tuesday from 7:30 to 9:30. You want to find out, Facebook's my main means by which to get the word out there, but just a John McConnell Music Google search will connect you with me in some capacity.
Awesome. Great, brother. Thanks again for taking the time. Justin, where are you playing this week?
I am playing Thursday at Dick Smith's. Friday.
Who's that with?
That's with Gary again.
Gary?
Actually, I have a session at More Sound in Syracuse with Max. I'm doing a song with him for his new album.
Shout out Jocko.
I'm playing Wind Down with GP with Gridley Page. It's actually going to be myself, Ryan Quinn, and Gary Johnson It's a full band. We're gonna rock out Friday. It's gonna be great.
Really?
Yeah.
That sounds fun.
Yeah. So that'll be on Twitch, and then Saturday is the first time I get to play Harpoon Eddies for the season, which is very exciting because they got like a tiki bar outside on Silver Beach, and it's great. It's awesome. Hopefully, it's nice and warm.
Yeah.
Sunday is the last gig with Joey.
Harpoon Eddies by yourself?
By myself,
Okay.
yeah. Sunday is the last gig with Joey for him. He's moving down to Nashville.
Where's that?
At Station 233 in Westmoreland.
Okay. So that's going to be a huge gig,
Yep,
actually.
that'll be pretty big. So if you want to see Joey play before he goes to Nashville, go to Station 233.
Awesome. And then make sure you go over on Twitch and follow Justin on Twitch and follow all the great local musicians over there on Twitch. It's a great platform. I have a lot of fun on there.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Hype train, like
The hype train, all that.
raids and everything.
Making fun of Moyer. I mean, I love all that stuff.
That's all I do usually. I just go out and like make fun of Tim.
Yeah. Seriously.
I don't even really play anymore. I just go out and make fun of Tim.
Same. Actually, I'm really obsessed with that Glow Stick Willie band.
I haven't seen him yet.
Go check those cats out. Oh, my God. They got like a concert going on every night over there.
Yeah.
So they're really cool. They're from Indiana.
Well, anybody with a name Glow Stick Willie, I mean,
Glow
they're
Stick Willie.
tripping every
They're
night.
a power
they're tripping
trio,
balls
but they're
every
doing
night.
everything from like the Grateful Dead
Really?
to like Metallica. They're all over the
That's
place.
sick. I love that.
Yeah, they're
Right
awesome.
on.
Great band. Check them out, Glow Stick Willie. John, thanks again. Everybody else, you have yourself a great day, and we'll see you again next Monday for Local Music Monday. Later.
Peace.